Alright, let's go. Welcome back into the Skooshi Sports Podcast. In your global sports roundup, I bring you the latest sporting news from around the globe in the last week. Plenty of highlights, plenty of things happening in the first month of the year to kick off 2026. We've got plenty happening with regards to Big Bash finals. We've got the Australian Open's just started. We've got darts after the World Championship. That's all resumed. We've got NFL playoffs. We've got Championship weekend this weekend. 3 more games of NFL left. We've got NBA and NHL in full swing as well. Of course, plenty of sport happening around the globe at the moment. So bloody good just before we kick off footy season. Cannot bloody wait. But before we get started, make sure you give this video and also the podcast a massive like. Subscribe to the channel as well for all your latest updates with regards to NRL, all things sport. Also, we've got 2 more episodes of the Red Zone Report, my NFL preview show for the season as well. That will be replaced with an NRL preview show, I believe, for the week, I'm thinking. Looks like I'm going to have a Supercoach video coming out for you tomorrow by all things looking like as well, which is pretty exciting. I'm going to do a little cheeky team reveals. The Supercoach has just opened for NRL players as well. One of my favorite things ever, literally ever. I think I'm addicted to NRL Supercoach. Cannot get enough of it. Just means footy season is so freaking close, baby. 18 days away. But without further ado, let's get stuck into the episode where I give you my Women's Player of the Week or Athlete of the Week, where I shine a bit of limelight on an outstanding female athlete who's just really risen above the expected performance and just really taken the news by storm. Giving them a bit more news and a bit more sort of viewership time, a bit more them in the spotlight, which is what I want to do when it comes to women's sports. Going to touch on a bit of cricket. So as I said, we're in the midst of Big Bash finals, which is just literally on tonight as I'm recording with the Scorchers and the Sixers. Going to touch on the tennis. Australian Open, it started on Sunday. Going to touch a little bit on the darts. We're in Bahrain, just finished Bahrain, and now we're in Saudi Arabia for the darts at the moment. Then, of course, we're going to finish off our American sports. So NFL, giving my little bit of review from the divisional games, giving you my NBA thoughts and NHL Weekly roundup. But without further ado, let's get into our Women's Player of the Week, because this one's pretty exciting. We're going to go to a tennis player because we're in the Australian Open at the moment, and what a performance from this particular lady here. Serbian player, she just won her first round just a couple days ago, but one of the standout wins so far at the Australian Open. That is going to go to Olga Danilovic from Serbia, as I spoke about. Now, this performance absolutely sets the tone for the rest of the tournament here. She defeated Venus Williams in the first round. So Venus Williams, 7-time Grand Slam champion. I get it. She's 45 years old, but one of the absolute, one of the best ever athletes to play the sport, particularly men's and women's. As a 7-time Grand Slam champion, 5 Wimbledons, 2 US Opens. No easy feat whatsoever. And all the crowd at Rod Laver Arena, the pinnacle of arenas when it comes to the Australian Open, all the crowd was pro-Venus, all on her side for her to get the first round win here. She loses the first set in a tiebreak, so she's down 1 set in best of 3 sets. She pulls it back in the second set, bounces back to win the second set 6-3. In the third set, it all started to go absolutely pear-shaped for Olga, but her determination and absolute brilliant tennis to pull it back 4-0 down, 4-love down in the third set, double break down, to pull it back and win it 6-4. She won the next 6 games. Just unbelievable turnaround from Olga to complete the comeback. As I said, the match was played on Rod Laver Arena, which I said the crowd was heavily behind Venus. So for her to overcome the crowd, the pressure of a Grand Slam situation, playing a 7-time Grand Slam situation, the sister of Serena Williams, the GOAT of women's tennis, just showed some absolute elite mental toughness and belief under pressure there. And just completely flipped momentum in that third set. Just one of the most unexpected wins we've seen of the tournament so far. It looked like it was going all Venus's way in that third set. And it just really stands out for me as not just an expected win, but just as just one of the absolute standout wins so far in this tournament here. And I know it was only the first round, but an absolute standout win. And just a perfect example of what the Australian Open is all about. The big stage, the big moments, So how much mental toughness do you have when you're down a double break against a champion like Venus to come back 4-love down in the third set to win the next 6 games and win the deciding set 6-4. Knock Venus out there. Get literally won her serve 3 times against Venus. Absolutely unbelievable performance by Olga Danilovic. Gets my Women's Player of the Week onto the second round of the Australian Open. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, let's get into a little bit of sports news. So into the cricket. So going to talk about a bit of Big Bash because we do have the first Big Bash finals game happening at the moment as I'm recording. As the Scorchers were batting, they finished on 9 for 147. Looks like there's an early wicket for the Sixers actually. Yep, Baba Azam has actually been stumped by Josh Inglis, bowled by Cooper Connolly. They're currently 1 down for nothing. Not a good start there for the Sixers chase there. So since the last episode, we've had, 1, 2, 7 games so far, and another 3 centuries to rattle off. Absolutely, we must be close to 10 centuries so far, in this season, which is just crazy. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. They're usually a rare occurrence, but they just seem to be absolutely flowing at the moment. So since last week, I was recording at the time of this game. We had the Stars beat the Strikers by 6 wickets, who got literally all out for 83. Very disappointing by Adelaide. We had the Brizzy Heat on my birthday as well. How bloody good. Beating the Canes by 3 runs. The Heat set a total of 160. Canes were cruising. Absolutely cruising. And then they needed, 11 off the last 2 overs. They literally went 4 for 7 in the last 2 overs. It was unbelievable bowling by Brisbane Heat. And an absolute choke by the champs Canes. They still make the finals, Canes. Heat do not. Actually, I'll touch on that in a little bit. We had the Scorchers beat the Renegades by 50 runs, set a total of 219. And one of those centuries from the 3 that I spoke about came from Finn Allen, the Kiwi T20 opener. 101 of 53 balls. An absolute clinical performance by Finn Allen. 5 fours and 8 sixes. He was pounding it everywhere. Absolute clutch innings there. This is one of the games of the weekend for sure. We had the Sixers beat the Thunder in the Sydney Derby by 5 wickets. Thunder went out to bat first, set a pretty decent total, about 185. Warner, 110, not out of 65 balls, survived the whole innings. 11 fours and 4 sixes. Absolute brilliant innings, but got outdone. Steve Smith is back, baby. Steve Smith back in the Big Bash. Got a century of 42 balls. He is absolutely ridiculous when he comes back to T20. He's not even named in the T20 World Cup squad at the moment, coming up next month, which is shocking to me. 5 fours, 9 sixes. It was unbelievable hitting. He even hit one on the SCG roof, which you do not see very often. So Smudge looking very, very good with his batting form heading into the World Cup if he gets selected next month, which is in India. We had the Strikers beat the Renegades by 8 wickets. Renegades literally got all out for 99, which is pretty disappointing there. Scorchers beat the Stars by 6 wickets. Again, disappointing by the Stars. Literally set a total of 133. And then the deciding match to get a semi-final spot, which actually the Sixers ended up finishing second off this. Sixers beat the Heat by 5 wickets up in Brisbane, chasing down 171 there. Did it pretty comfortably in the end there. So we have a look at our final standings. We had the Perth Scorchers yet again finish top of the table on 7 wins out of 10, 14 points. Sixers 13 points, finished second on points percentage above the Canes. So the Canes finished third on 13 points. Stars finished 12th on finished fourth, on 12 points. Had the Heat finishing on 10 points, missing out on finals, which is disappointing. Strikers on 8 points. That was a very disappointing season from the Renegades, 6 points and 3 wins out of 10. And the Thunder just had 2 measly wins out of the 10 for 4 points, getting the wooden spoon. So the Big Bash finals work a little bit different than your traditional top 4 format that you'd usually see. So we've got first and second playing as we speak at the moment. So the winner of this game, Perth are hosting. The winner of this one goes straight into the final. Which is pretty cool. The loser, and then we've got the Canes and the Stars playing tomorrow night, third versus fourth in Hobart there. The winner of Hobart and the Stars play the loser of Perth and the Sydney Sixers, which finishes tonight. The winner of that next game will then play the winner of the qualifier tonight. I know it gets a little bit confusing. So what do we have? 4 more games left to go of the season there. All right, so as I said, Hurricanes and Stars tomorrow. Winner plays the loser. All right, international cricket. We had the Black Caps. I spoke about them last week. They're playing in India in ODI series. They're there for 5 T20s as well, I believe. They lost the first ODI, I think, it was about 4 wickets. Kohli got 97 or something there. New Zealand, to their credit, so bloody good. A comeback. They've won the second ODI by 7 wickets. They chased down 286. They're literally 2 for 50 something at one stage as well. Daryl Mitchell, 131 not out of 117 balls. An absolute clutch innings to get the job done for the Black Caps to level up series 1-1. But job wasn't done there. New Zealand got the job done yet again in the third ODI to win the series. The first ever ODI series win in India, I think, ever by New Zealand, which is so bloody cool. They won the third ODI by 41 runs. They set a total of 8 for 337. They were literally 2 down for 5 runs after the 1.1 overs, which is an incredible comeback. Again, Mitchell, 137 off 131 balls. He has gone 268 in the last 268 runs in the last 2 ODIs. Absolutely ridiculous hitting. Glenn Phillips also turned up 106 off 88 balls. Very good innings. And, of course, the master, Virat Kohli, 124 off 108 for India. But it was not good enough in the end, not chasing down 337 there. All right, let's touch on a bit of tennis. So the Australian Open, my mistake, I mentioned it last week, not in this podcast, maybe in a reel. It usually starts Monday. I always thought it started Monday. They've just recently changed, started Sunday now, so getting the extra day in there. And to the credit to Tennis Australia and Australian Open, it's absolutely paid dividends. And I've seen some complaints on like my Twitter and a bit of Facebook that the crowds are too big. It's too many people there now. And it's like, what? Like, don't you want it to be like this massive event where like so many people like and get more money into the sport so you can produce more talent in Australia? I've been to the Australian Open once. I think when I was 12, I think. It was an absolute elite tournament. It's kind of gone from like a tournament sort of vibe to definitely like a festival vibe, which I have no complaints about whatsoever. Like, it's a festival of tennis, in my opinion. 2 weeks, you got the best ever players in the world coming down under to play in a beautiful city, in a beautiful country. We don't want it to just be like, all this little quiet stuff, all these like really rich people walking around, it's super exclusive, that sort of thing. No, I want the city to be all about the tennis when it comes to mid-January in this time. That's exactly what it's all about. On the Sunday, they produced 100,000 people through the gates. It was the biggest ever day through the gates ever in Australian Open history, which is unbelievable. I think that's 70,000 through the day, which is incredible. I think it's so good. They're literally like, I get this big lineups now, but that's just what you expect with bigger crowds. You got to get there earlier if you want to see the players you want to see, especially in those outside courts there. There's big lineups and stuff, but they're literally packing out the outside courts now. I just think it's so bloody cool. I think it's so good for sport, so good for tennis in Australia as well. Not too many upsets, though, to talk about. It's literally the end of the first round finishing tonight. We've got Osaka. I'm watching on my TV now. Osaka is looking pretty much in control at the moment now. Tsitsipas is playing as well at the moment. We just had Taylor Fritz. He won in 4 sets. We had Yannick Sinner. He also played this afternoon. He won the first set 6-2 and then 6-1. Then his opponent retired. So I hope he's okay, but he's easily through to the second round. Novak played, I think it was last night. He won 6-3, 6-2, 6-2, won very comfortably. Carlos Alcaraz beat an Aussie, Adam Walton, on opening night 6-3, 7-6. Got tested in the tiebreak there, and then 6-2. So the other 2 sets were pretty comfortable. If we have a look at the women's side, Sabalenka won 6-4, 6-1, the number 1 seed, and the number 2 seed, Iga Swiatek, won 7-6, 6-3. Zverev played on the first day. He had a 4-set win. He did lose the first set, but after that, pretty much in control. So not too many upsets to sort of give you so far. Pretty much the favorites are in control, as you'd expect. I think the only major upset we've seen is like the 20th seed Kostyuk from Ukraine. Had literally 2 match points and absolutely blew it and ended up losing there. But honestly, I used to play tennis when I was a kid. It's an awesome sport. I ended up choosing to play golf over tennis. Little fun fact for you. Whenever the Oz Open is on in Australia here, it is just unbelievable to watch. I absolutely love it so much. I'll put it on every day if I can, put it on every night. I've got it on over the Big Bash finals at the moment. I just love it. I cannot wait to get back down there. Despite the big crowds, I cannot wait to get down there. I really want to go down for like a week and just purely just watch tennis and just have the vibe of, being at the Australian Open. I think it'd be so freaking cool. Let's touch on a bit of darts. So I'm going to touch on it briefly, not really massive a lot to report. Just had a little couple tournaments in the last sort of week or so. They're in the Middle East at the moment in Bahrain. They played the Bahrain Masters last week, which is 16 players. And literally you go from 16, then the knockout into 8 to 4, and then end up 2, and then you get your champion from there. A little bit different to the World Championship format. It's nice, quick format, similar to kind of like the Premier League, I guess. Your first round is first to 6. You win that. Your second round, 8 players left. First to 6 legs there as well. Just legs, not sets or anything. Third round, you make the semi-final, first to 7, and then you make the final, it is first to 8 legs. So nice, short, and sweet. It's over within about sort of 2 days. Luke Littler won his first round against Paul Lim, 6-1. Then he unfortunately lost his second round to Gerwin Price, 6-2. My old man told me that not Paul Lim, but Luke was pretty casual against Paul Lim, despite winning 6-1, despite having an average of 108. He was right. Kicked him in the ass next round. Gerwin Price beating him 6-2, which you don't often see from Littler there. Maybe a little bit of a World Championship hangover, but they're now in Saudi Arabia now, a few days later. Similar 16 players, same format. The draw is almost identical, which is kind of a bit annoying. Luke Littler played this morning, beat Paul Lim again, so randomized draw. Got him again, beat him 6-1. Again, same result. He now plays Gian Van Veen, the guy he beat in the final of the World Championship. He plays him tomorrow morning. But Michael Van Gerwen did end up winning the Bahrain Masters. He did beat, we just spoke about him, Gian Van Veen in the final 8-6 there. So Gian Van Veen lost a couple of finals in a row now, but he will be looking to bounce back pretty darn quickly, I would say. But yeah, there's your little bit of a darts report. Let's take over to your American sports. Holy dooly. I just want to say, in my experience of watching NFL across, must be 8 years now, I think this seems like the best playoffs I have just ever seen. And I get it. You don't have the Chiefs. You don't have Mahomes there. You don't have Burrow there. You don't have Ravens and Lamar there. But this has just been absolutely epic. Some of the games, man, we had 6 wildcard games the weekend before. 4 of them were epics. We had 4 divisional games the weekend gone. 2 of them were absolute epics. It has been unbelievable. Hopefully we get the same this weekend. Maybe not in the Patriots-Broncos game, but it's been unbelievable. Let's start off with the results and a little bit of a recap. So, Sunday morning, we had Denver Broncos beating the Buffalo Bills 33-30 in overtime. What an absolute game this was. I think they were up 23-10 at halftime. Denver well in control. Credit to Josh Allen, brought it back, got the lead 24-20. 24-23. Got 2 touchdowns in the second half. They ended up having a lead of 27-23 with 2 minutes to go, and all credit to Bo Nix. Talk about Bo Nix in a little bit. Drives down the field, minute to go. Throws a really good ball to Marvin Mims, gets the touchdown to make it get it to 30-27, a lead with a minute to go. Josh Allen drives the Bills down the field, locks it up at 30 apiece to send it to overtime, where we saw, I think the Bills won the toss, chose to defer, so Broncos got the ball first. Broncos ended up punting. The Bills got the ball first. They ended up punting. Broncos ended up punting there. And then the Bills got an opportunity. Josh Allen threw an interception. He had 4 turnovers in the game. Not a good game for him. 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles lost. That meant Broncos got the ball, strolled down the field. Couple controversial flags. I get it. But that put them in easy field goal range to kick the field goal 33-30 to get the win. Another heartbreaker for Bills fans and the Bills. I'm not the biggest Bills fan. I'm a Mahomes guy. I like seeing Mahomes beat Josh Allen in the playoffs. To see Josh Allen be crying after, it's just one of those things. Just like, come on, man. Like, I get it hurts, but how long are you going to keep doing this for? How long are you going to keep losing in the playoffs? A lot of results happen out of this game, though. We saw Bo Nix unfortunately get injured on the second last play of this game in overtime. Broke his ankle, which is, I don't even remember seeing that, honestly. But he is out now for next week and the rest of the season. So we've got Jarrett Stidham now starting for the Broncos at quarterback in the AFC Championship game where they now play the Patriots, which we'll touch on in a bit. This Bills loss as well, it ended up resulting in this morning found out Sean McDermott has been fired as the Buffalo Bills coach. Pretty harsh when you look at a divisional loss, which is, one game away from a championship berth. But you know what? I said to one of my good mates last week, if they lost to the Jags, I thought he was going to get the sack. And they did end up winning, but I honestly didn't think this would end up happening. Bit of controversy around it, but something I think I do agree on. What is this now? 6-7 years in a row that they've had absolute heartbreak in the playoffs, whether it's the divisional or AFC championship game, have not made a Super Bowl in those 7 years, have had ample chance to go further in the playoffs, had heartbreaking losses, but they've had plenty of good chances. The famous one, the 13 seconds Mahomes one, literally leading the game with 13 seconds to go. Chiefs drive down the field, 2 plays, 50 yards or something extraordinary in 10 seconds. Ended up getting to win in overtime. They've had so many heartbreakers against the Chiefs. They just cannot do it. They've had a loss against the Bengals where they absolutely blew it. And if it's not broken, if it is broken, maybe you need to change something. You can't expect to do the same thing next year and expect a different result. And it's a harsh market. I get it in the NFL, but this is not McDermott's fault. Josh Allen has never really had any good receivers. He's never really had an elite defense. I get there were defensive injuries. The fact that Broncos really struggled on offense this season to concede 33 points to them really just proves that they're not worthy of going to the next round. I think Denver fully deserve it. I get Denver conceded 30 points. Who's the better quarterback in this situation, Josh Allen or Bo Nix? It's Josh Allen by a canter, right? And it's not Josh Allen's fault that the defense is just shot and every time they let him down. But he's got the receivers either to throw to, which doesn't even come down to McDermott, but it comes down to the GM and the owner not drafting or wanting to trade for any receivers or get any receivers off free agency. However, Josh Allen did have 4 turnovers, and as I said, 6 years in a row or something that McDermott has actually failed when it gets to the big stage. He's failed when it gets to the big stage. So long term, this will absolutely benefit the Bills, I believe, 100%. Allen gets a fresh coach. I think they need to draft some receivers. I think they need to go big on a receiver. I don't know whether it's could be like a DK Metcalf. It could just literally be any big receiver that you can think of. Needs to be there in Buffalo to go and win a Super Bowl, and a big defensive player as well. It was never going to happen. I called at the start of the season that Myles Garrett would get traded there because I thought the Browns would be pretty crap. Sounds like Myles Garrett, but Garrett is going to be a Brown for a very, very long time, so that didn't end up happening. But the Bills really need to trade for someone big, like really big. It could be like a Max Crosby. You know what I mean? The Raiders absolutely suck. It could be like a Max Crosby or something like that. They need someone big in that defensive line who will make an absolute difference. We had Seattle getting the win 41-6 against the division rival, the Niners. This was honestly game over after 15 seconds. Kickoff return touchdown by Rashid Shaheed. And San Fran were just never in it. Never in it. What was it? 21-3, I think, at halftime. Absolutely never in the game. Didn't even put up a touchdown, San Fran. Seattle absolutely dominated. Kenneth Walker, 3 touchdowns, 110 yards or something. Props out to Zach Charbonnet. He did injure his knee. He won't be playing this weekend or in the Super Bowl, unfortunately for him. But that Seattle defense, man, the dark side, the Legion of Boom Part 2 is looking pretty bloody good. And as a Panthers fan, you got to be happy for Sam Darnold, but it does pain you at the same time to realize that, Sam Darnold could be playing in a Super Bowl in 2.5 weeks' time, which, jeez. You know that meme where it's like you're in a coma for 3 years and you wake up and you go, oh boy, Sam Darnold's in the Super Bowl. Oh my God, must mean the Panthers are in the Super Bowl. Yeah, nah, that's not happened, unfortunately. It's not happened. But Patriots and the Texans. Patriots getting to win 28-16. And, jeez, it was not a good game. Not a good game. 8 turnovers in the whole game. The highest in a playoff game for quite a while. Not good. CJ Stroud was disgustingly bad. 4 interceptions in the first half. There was a fumble lost by the Texans as well. Drake May, I think he had, 2 interceptions, and then there was a fumble lost as well. There was a pick 6 thrown by CJ Stroud as well. You kind of felt like Davis Mills maybe should have come on in the second half there just to see what would have happened. There's no Nico Collins, which wouldn't have changed the result. There was a different quarterback, though. Could have been a completely different result. This Texans defense is brutal. Patriots still put up 3 touchdowns on offense against them, to their credit. I don't think Drake May looked that great. I know it's crap weather, but I don't think that he looked awesome. But credit to them. Still got the win 28-16. The Patriots are back, baby. You hate to see it in a way. If you're not a Patriots fan, you do definitely hate to see it. Going for the 10th Super Bowl or 11th Super Bowl appearance now in the last sort of freaking 17 years or something absurd, which is just it drives me insane. First AFC Championship appearance since the Tom Brady era. Patriots Broncos in the AFC Championship game, man. You look at this game 10 years ago and you're like, sweet, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, bro. How good is this game going to be? Now we get Drake May and Jarrett Stidham, bro. How bloody good. Denver Broncos are a 5.5-point home dog in this one. I give Denver a chance. Patriots have a bloody easy schedule all year. I get they just beat the Texans, but Denver will be fully up for this defensively. And Jarrett Stidham's not the worst backup quarterback you've ever seen as well. The last game, absolute doozy of a game. Absolute doozy. You got to give credit to the Bears. They went down overtime 20-17 here in this game. So good by the Bears season. What a season, really. Very, very impressive considering second year Caleb Williams, first year with Ben Johnson. They have looked improved out of sight. These comebacks that the Bears have had have just been unbelievable. Was that 7 or 8 now for the season in the last 2 minutes? They come back to tie the game or lead the game. And I did think the Rams deserved it. It was bitterly cold. I think minus 13 degrees Celsius with wind chill there. Doesn't suit Matthew Stafford, but they were pretty much leading a lot of this game. It was 10-all at halftime. They took the lead, 17-10 late in the fourth quarter there, and then 17-10, Caleb Williams driving down the field, baby, to tie it up in the last 2 minutes. In the last minute, 4th and 4 from the 14-yard mark. 4th and 4, missed this, season's over. And Rams call a blitz, which I would have called as well, and Caleb is scrambling back as far as he can, went 26 yards behind the scrimmage line to the 40-yard line, throws up this Hail Mary kind of thing into the left corner. And I had no idea what happened to the Rams safety. He just completely missed it. Lands in Cole Kmet's hands. Touchdown Bears, 17-all. And honestly, I thought, considering how aggressive Ben Johnson is as a coach, thought maybe he just would have put his balls on the line and gone for 2 and just called game there. If they get that, they easily win the game. If they don't, then they're lost anyway. I just think that's kind of that was their mantra all season. Why not take it to the playoffs? Anyway, 17-all, they trusted themselves in overtime. And I believe I think the Bears got the ball. The Rams got ball first in overtime. They ended up punting. The Bears, they ended up throwing an interception. They had the chance to go down the field, kick a field goal to go win the game. Caleb Williams, despite his heroic effort, threw an interception there. Rams go down the field, very clutch by Stafford, and then the kicker, Mevis, kicks the winning field goal, gets to win 20-17. They now head to Seattle, the third time they play in the season, NFC West division matchup there. That division is absolutely loaded. We remember what happened last time the Rams went to Seattle was about 4 weeks ago now. Wasn't very long ago at all. It was Rams were absolutely killing them. And they choked, and Seattle came back and won in overtime. 2-point conversion to win that game, which was one of the best games I've ever seen. It was so bloody good. One of the best games I've ever seen. But Patriots and the Broncos, Rams in Seattle, winner faces each other in the Super Bowl 60 in San Fran. 3 more games to go in the NFL season, which is very sad, but cannot wait for these 3 games. They're going to be absolutely epic. We could have Jarrett Stidham and Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. Who the fuck would have called that at the start of the year? Let's head on to a bit of NBA. Let's chat a tiny bit about NBA. There was a lot of NFL chat there. So our best team of the week for the last week was we had the LA Clippers, who are looking pretty hot at the moment, went 3-0 in the last week, and they just doesn't look like they're going to stop anytime soon. They're looking like they're going to hunt into that playoff spot there, which is very good news. And they now snuck in to a play-in spot there, knocked the Grizzlies out of that other spot there, which is very good for them. The worst team of the week, the New York Knicks, man, went 0-3. They got destroyed at home today. That doesn't even include the 0-3. At home to the Dallas Mavericks. The NBA Cup champs have now lost 9 of their last 11 games. I have no idea what is happening in New York at the moment. They are looking awful. They are still third seed in the Eastern Conference, but they are now well behind the Pistons. Won 2 of their last 11 games. The NBA Cup champs. What is going on there in New York? It's not like they're banged up or anything. Just playing crap basketball. MVP-wise, SGA still at the big favorite there, $1.27. Has too much in the last week. Luka Doncic still $7.50. Kay Cunningham is hunting though. He went from 17 last week into 13. Felt like near the start of the season he was like $66 or something. Now he's $13, which is pretty insane. We also had the NBA All-Star teams announced today as well. So it's been the first time since 2004 LeBron James will not be an All-Star, which is pretty crazy to think about. 21 years in a row is Gonskis. He still could get named as a reserve, but he's not an All-Star starter this year. Bit of a different format with the NBA All-Star. So all up, there's going to be 24 players. And I'll tell you who the stars are from each conference first, but there's going to be 24 players all up. They're going to be split into 3 teams, though. 2 American teams of 8, and then a rest of the world team. And how the numbers will work is there should be pretty close to 16 American players out of the 24 in the All-Stars, and there should be pretty close to 8 rest of world players outside the US that will make that team there. How it'll work in the NBA All-Star game, it'll be like a round-robin format in the first 3 quarters. So let's say USA will play USA in the first quarter. First USA team will play the rest of the world team in the second quarter, and then in the third quarter, the second USA team will play rest of the world there. Round robin there, whoever wins is like the top 2 teams will literally advance to the last quarter in the final there. So way different to what we've seen in the past, which is a little bit different. I want to see these players play less game time. You don't want to see these guys get injured, that sort of thing. Like you don't see NFL doing like a Pro Bowl in the middle of the year. Like with the MLB, you see them do like an all-star game, but like they're just doing like they pitch for like 1 innings. They have like 1 bat. They do like a skills challenge. Not really a good chance of getting injured there. The all-star team. So Eastern Conference stars. We got Giannis from the Bucks. We got Jaylen Brown from the Celtics. We got Jalen Brunson from the Knicks. We got Kate Cunningham from the Pistons, and we got Tyrese Maxey from the Sixers there. Your Western Conference starters: Steph Curry from Golden State, Luka Doncic from the Lakers, SGA from the Thunder, Nikola Jokic from the Nuggets, and Victor Wembanyama from the Spurs. You look at that, pretty much your top 10 players in the league. If I was to have a look at a team, can't think of anyone. Maybe like Anthony Edwards has maybe been snubbed from that, but no one really like look at that and I think they've been snubbed at all. Maybe Donovan Mitchell as well, but they'll get picked in the reserves. Other news today: Jimmy Butler, one of the stars of Golden State, did go down with a knee injury today against Miami as well. He'll get an MRI overnight. So we'll see the results from that, but doesn't look too good. Looking at the conferences, though, I said Detroit Pistons still well in control of their conference. 5.5 games now ahead of Boston in that number 1 seed, which is pretty crazy to think about. 7-3 in the last 10. Looking pretty handy. Had a good, decent win today as well. Boston's kicking along as well. And said the Knicks are just absolutely struggling at the moment. They're absolute struggle street. And then I keep speaking about every week. It just seems like the teams are below these 3. I still believe in the Knicks, by the way. I still believe in them. But the Raptors, the Sixers, Magic, Cavs, Heat, Bulls, Hawks, are they really going to do anything come the playoffs? I just don't see them threatening too much. I get the Raptors, like they're a really good, fresh, young team. But I just don't see it. Even if they finish the 4th seed, they could get knocked out by the Sixers in the first round. I just don't quite have that belief for the Raptors there. In your Western Conference, OKC is back on top. They're now back to the number 1 power rank team after that little slump that they had. They did lose to Miami a couple games ago, but 7-3 in the last 10. They are 5.5 games ahead of the Spurs, who are in second place there. All props, though, to Denver Nuggets. Still in the 3rd spot there. Still hanging on without Nikola Jokic. He should be back very, very soon, I think. They're 6-4 in the last 10 without him. So looking very good. They're just hanging in there. Jamal Murray is going bonkers at the moment. The Timberwolves are playing very good basketball as well at the moment. The Rockets, a team who I actually think can compete come NBA playoff times, are really struggling at the moment. Same with the Lakers there as well. Very interesting. The Suns are looking very good, 7-3 in the last 10. They could literally, they're 7th in the play-in at the moment, so that play-in spot. But they could honestly threaten come playoffs. Devin Booker's playing really good at the moment. Depends how they think their season's going to go. Maybe they're one big trade away from making a little charge towards the NBA playoffs there. We spoke about the Clippers now snuck into that play-in spot, 8-2 in the last 10. They have won 6 games in a row. Knocked the Grizzlies out of the 10th play-in spot there, who are not looking good. I think the Clippers easily deserve to be there over Grizzlies at the moment. And Portland also in the play-in at the moment, 8-2 in the last 10, looking pretty bloody good there. So yeah, that's your little NBA Weekly sort of review there. Not too much has happened. Obviously, your all-star teams have been announced there, but New York Knicks, get better, man. Get bloody better. Let's have a little chat on the ice hockey to finish it off. One of the best sports going around, in my opinion, there. And then we'll get this podcast. I'll love you and leave you for the night there. NHL. So quickly before I get into the standings at the moment, we do have the Winter Olympics starting in less than a month now. So the NHL does stop in about 2 weeks on the 5th of February for the Olympic break, and it will be back on the 25th of February, so a good 3-week break. So a lot of games getting crammed in at the moment because they probably miss like 7 to 8 games for each team there, so they've got to try and cram them in at the moment and then cram them in after the Olympics as well. If you're an Olympic player, you've got a lot of hockey this year to come, especially if you get to the playoffs. Good news for the Florida Panthers. Despite losing to the San Jose Sharks today 4-1 at home, Matthew Tkachuk, one of the better players, is back on the ice. So he was back today, which is really good news. Really good news for Team USA as well. He'll be there in the Olympics. They've still got Alex Barkov, their captain, still to come back. I think he'll be back for the playoffs, I'll say. I'm still backing in Florida to make the playoffs. They are not in a wildcard spot at the moment, but that could change very quickly. And in that Panthers game, if you're listening to this, go look this up. The goalie fight in the Panthers and Sharks game. The Sharks goalie and Sergei Bobrovsky, the Florida goalie, had absolutely going ham at each other, which is absolute elite to see. Elite to see. It was so bloody good. Nothing's really changed though in terms of NHL. Avalanche is still looking pretty bloody good, although they did finally lose their first game at home in regulation. Absolute scenes. They're now 21-3. So it's 20/1/3 now at home. So it's 3 overtime losses, 20 wins, 1 regulation loss against the Nashville Predators, which is pretty surprising. They are still kicking everybody's ass in the league, though. They are 11 points ahead of second, which is the Wild, not just in their conference, but the whole league, which is insane to think about. So your top 3 spots in the Western Conference at the moment are the Avalanche, the Wild, and the Stars. And then you've got the Golden Knights from Vegas, the Oilers, and the Sharks are back there. How bloody good. They're in a wildcard spot at the moment. They're sitting 3rd in the Pacific, which you'd love to see. Now you got the Utah Mammoth and the Ducks hanging on to that extra 2 wildcard spots there. But you still got the Kraken, Kings, Predators still charging there. You never know what can happen there. The Winnipeg Jets, man, just like, what the hell is going on with the Winnipeg Jets? I just don't get it whatsoever. It's just, they've got one of the best goalies in the league, and they just can't score any goals to show for it, which is pretty sad to see. Eastern Conference-wise, Tampa Bay finally had a loss a couple of days ago against the Blues in a shootout. That was their first loss in 12 games, but they did win yesterday, so back on a 12-1 winning streak there. But they are sitting atop of the Eastern Conference with the Detroit Red Wings both on 64 points. Sorry, the Hurricanes are actually top of the Eastern. My bad. That's completely my bad. They're sitting in the Metro Division. Pretty tight there, sitting at the top of the Eastern, though. You got the Canes, Lightning, and the Red Wings. Then you got a little bit of daylight. You got the Canadians there sitting 3rd in the Atlantic there. And then you've also got the Islanders there sitting on 59 points. And the Penguins. Oh, the Penguins have got to drop off, surely. No one thought they'd be at the stage halfway through his season. Sidney Crosby has notched up another 50-point season. The 38-year-old, which is just absolutely insane now. 6-2-2 in the last 10 games. playing bloody good hockey at the moment, but can they keep it up in the back end after the Olympic break? Not so sure. Same with this team, the Boston Bruins. So those two teams were very picked at the preseason to very much be near the bottom of the tables, near the end of the NHL season struggle. But now, if you close the season right now, they'll be playing playoffs, baby. Same with this third team, the Buffalo Sabres. Holy dooly. It's crazy to think they could be playing in the playoffs. They have snatched up that last wildcard spot at the moment, but we spoke about how tight this league is at the moment and how tight, especially the Eastern Conference is at the moment. Within 4 points of the Sabres, you got the Leafs, you got the Philadelphia Flyers, you got the Washington Capitals, and you got the Florida Panthers there on their tracks. New Jersey Devils are really struggling at the moment, sitting 52. The Senators are kind of dropped off a bit. Blue Jackets are dropped off, and the New York Rangers, man, sitting last in the Eastern Conference. Can you believe it, man? A New York team should not be sitting that below unless they're called the New York Jets, but the New York Rangers, a team that pretty consistently makes the playoffs every single year, are sitting 5-17 record at home this season at MSG, which is crazy to think about. They have a better record on the road than they do at home by a country mile, but they are just, their goalie Shesterkin's injured. They've got just injuries all over. The Vincent Trocheck's injured. It's just not looking good at all for the Rangers. They will not be playing playoff hockey this year. Still pretty clear that Nathan MacKinnon and Connor McDavid are easily the two best players in the league at the moment. They're absolutely killing the points tally. And Nathan MacKinnon from the Avalanche still leading the goals tally at 38. McDavid's on 30. They do both have 85 points. So McDavid is getting a lot of assists there. But that'll do it for NHL Weekly Review. And that will do it for me here. I'm going to love you and leave you. That will do it for the Skooshi Sports Podcast, your global sports roundup, bringing your latest sporting news from around the globe. Shout out again to Olga Danilovich beating Venus Williams from an absolute comeback down in that third set. They're 4-love to win the third set 6-4, which is an absolute credit to her. Touched on the Big Bash finals and obviously the Black Caps getting the series win in India there. And then Australian Open season, so bloody good, on for the next 2 weeks. And then our American sports, we've got the championship weekend this coming weekend. Patriots at Broncos, Rams at Seattle. Winner of those two fight for the Super Bowl in 2 weeks' time. But that'll do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned tomorrow for my NRL Supercoach first team reveal. So bloody keen for it. And the Red Zone Report 2 days later for your divisional matchups and your preview. Thank you so much for watching, and cheers.